This is an older game already. We're playing some Kayle into 1st-Strike Jayce. Really, you just need to worry about surviving and getting to the late game with this one. You do not want to be trading with him early if he gets a 1st-Strike proc off on you, and you definitely don't want to be dealing with him directly in the mid-game. Do what you do best on Kayle, which is survive and scale. Oh, he started W. That's a little weird. I was expecting a Q start. This is going to be more of an audio journal with a game in the background as, well, as something to look at, I guess. I'll interject with commentary once in a while, but I'm not doing a full game commentary here. Yeah, I finally had my first real day off. I don't know, it must have been like 3 or 4 weeks at this point. And I just used it to decompress and not think about work for a few moments. I tried to pull up this video that I was working on at the time, and I just couldn't. Take care of your mental health, y'all. Burnout ain't it. But we are very excited to be moving on from the job that I was at and on to something that looks more like an actual career. In terms of what you should be expecting in the near future from my uploads, some snippets of the lab work that I was doing for our live presentation might come up. If you're into robotics, that should be a pretty good time. I've got a few video game related endeavors, as I always do. I wasn't really trying to make another League video while I was decompressing by playing it yesterday, but I did end up stumbling upon something that worked a little too well, and I'd like to try it again at some point and publish my findings. If you're following my Sonic Adventure 2 content, I do have a couple of those videos primed and ready to go. I just need to put on the finishing touches on a couple of them. I was planning to revisit old school RuneScape in the near future just to see if the exploit that I had documented still works in free-to-play. Just a lot of different projects in all sorts of directions, and some of it that's not even related to the channel, but, you know, things to do, things to get done. Anyway, post level 6, this matchup becomes a lot easier to deal with, at least in terms of collecting farm. However, Jayce's all-in potential does also spike. Before 6, if he's crazy enough to be in melee range of you, yeah, by all means, stand your ground. After 6, I don't know, if you have ult up, maybe. Luckily, when Jayce isn't overtuned, he's not really a champion that people pick to climb with. He's a champion that they pick to try and teach themselves to be better at the game, unless it's like a hard smurf that you're going into. Pretty much any time that you see the opportunity to pop Jayce's 1st-Strike as it comes up so that he can't use it against you is a good idea, just because that's where a lot of his burst comes from. He shouldn't really be letting me push out these waves right now and crash them under his turret, but I will take the win where I see it.
I took up my mother's sword, and with it, her purpose. Heal by fire. I will grow stronger.
Well, we've survived to 6. We're able to do ranged auto attacks. Now it's just a matter of collecting as much gold and experience from minions around the map as possible, regardless of what our team is doing. That's right, it's time for some pest control. Kayle mid-game is a little weird because you can absolutely carry a team fight pretty much on your own, and you definitely want to be near the action to ult the already snowballing Master Yi. At the same time, you really don't want to just ARAM things with your team for an extended period of time. Splitting XP that many ways is not beneficial to you before you hit 16. If you have ult up and can make a play, I would definitely try to be around where a team fight would be, but once you don't have ult anymore, once you don't have flash anymore for cheeky flash execute, I would get back to solo XP as quickly as possible, ideally in a side lane. Prior to reaching raid boss status, when you really should avoid any and all deaths whatsoever, it's almost okay to go 1-for-1 if you're taking out the ADC or the jungler. Like, you still don't really want to die for it, but if you can burn some spells that are on a lower cooldown and secure a jungle objective, go for it, especially if you know you're about to be hitting the point where you're problematic for every enemy in the game. Now, this Lucian shouldn't have been trying to take this turret with me, but we both stay and end up dying for it. This is kind of a scuffed ult. I blew it way too early because they were turning on me, and I expected the Pantheon to turn on me, but they all just turned and ran down my Lucian when they saw that I ulted, and then I didn't have it to follow up later. We end up entering into this awkward phase of nothing really to do on the map, which is okay, but I wish people wouldn't be following on to me quite as much. Although with my ult up, I guess it's okay. We end up making some plays out of it, and eventually closing out the game. I'm more willing to stay grouped with the team, 1, because the Lux is doing pretty well, and 2, because I'm buying time for Master Yi to respawn and eventually go and get some picks in the side lanes. I'd prefer to be doing the side laning, but I also know how to ARAM as Kayle. It's fine. It's just less than optimal. Couldn't quite end, but I have TP, and I can crack another base tower with it after shopping. No threat of Pantheon jumping on me for a minute, so how are they gonna stop me? You guys sure about that one? Are you? I just want to clarify, this is a totally random Master Yi in solo queue. I don't know the guy. Maybe I just can't handle the Wuju style. Oh, you fools. That wasn't even my final form. Not that I get to show it off this game. I know this was a lot more freeform than my usual postings. As I said earlier, I've got a bunch of things that I'm excited to be working on. Let me know what you're most excited to see.